This is KGW News at noon.
My plan I'm announcing today pulls no punches in the fight against COVID-19.
Within the last hour, the president announced his plans to fight COVID and its newest variant, Omicron. Hi, everyone. I'm Brenda Braxton. As we told you yesterday, Omicron is now here in the U.S. The first case was discovered in San Francisco. President Biden's new plans to fight the virus include more restrictions on international travel. Now everyone arriving from foreign countries needs to test negative no more than 24 hours before flying into the U.S., and that does include Americans. His plan also includes more workplace protections to keep the economy going and increasing the supply of COVID treatment pills. He also wants to expand free at-home testing by requiring insurance companies to cover the cost. Authorities do expect Omicron to spread fast, but they don't know yet if it's more severe or vaccine resistant. Public health officials, both local and national, are urging you to get a COVID booster shot, but that can prove challenging right now. Tim Gordon has an update on what's available.
If you are eligible to get the COVID vaccine booster and are having trouble making an appointment, you're not alone. Frustrating, but in a way, the predicament is understandable. Once the federal government opened up boosters for everyone 18 and up, the demand pool increased a lot. And with another new variant out there, concern is up. But health officials say the booster booking frustration is generally not because of a lack of vaccine, although Washington's Secretary of Health says they are cautious about ordering it up.
I think there's been a point where we've had more supply than demand. And so what we've done is been careful that we don't over order or over prescribe a vaccine from from either the federal partners or through the federal systems.
So what's the problem? It may be the network of providers, allocations to them, and staffing to go along with the increased demand.
They may have hesitated for a while, especially, holidays coming up or whatever, in terms of making appointments for the booster, but a lot more people may be seeking out booster doses right now. And that's why it's getting a little bit harder for the people to get in.
In Washington state, more than 4.7 million people are fully vaccinated. Of those, just over 1 million have gotten an additional or booster dose. In Oregon, nearly 2.5 million are fully vaccinated, and more than 707,000 have gotten an extra or booster dose. In Clark County, Washington, just over 67,000 have gotten a booster shot. If, like me, you're not yet one of them,
it's hard for me to get an appointment for a booster. What do you tell me?
I recommend not giving up and continue to try and make an appointment, because I think, whether you get the booster today or next week, it's important that you get it as soon as possible.
So join me and keep trying. Tim Gordon, KGW News.
Hey, you don't always need an appointment. Some pharmacies like Costco and CVS will vaccinate walk-ins. Tektronix also has a free walk-in clinic in Beaverton. Now, state websites are the best sources for more information. Check getvaccinatedoregon.gov, and in Washington, go to its vaccine locator site. A church in Michigan held a prayer vigil for the victims of a school shooting this week. 4 students died and 7 other people are injured.
It was a beautiful gathering of the community coming together and praying for the families.
What made it so good is the amount of people that were here. The amount of kids, young folks.
As we reported yesterday at noon, the 15-year-old accused gunman faces murder and terrorism charges. Investigators say he still had a loaded gun when officers confronted him inside the school on Tuesday. They say he got the gun from his dad, who bought it just last week. Prosecutors are also considering charges against the boy's parents. Tigard High School students walked out of class yesterday protesting a disturbing video uploaded to social media. Our camera was there as several hundred kids walked out and then marched around the block. This comes just days after some students were heard in a TikTok video using slurs to describe blacks, Asians, and Muslims. The students we talked to say that video is not an isolated incident. They say racism is common at the high school.
It's everywhere, so it's not a new thing. This isn't something that's just now happening. It's just now getting attention more than it has before.
You know, I am fond of saying that we don't make the public in public ed. We educate the public to be better. And it is because they bring their lived experiences into our building, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is unfortunately the ugly part of that.
The superintendent can't tell us how the students involved may be punished, but she says the school is not taking this lightly. They're providing safe spaces for students to discuss what happened, and they're providing staff with additional training to help them recognize and disrupt microaggressions and hate speech. Well, back here in Portland, a story that may make your daily commute a little more expensive. In a few years, ODOT wants drivers to pay a toll to use parts of I-5 and I-205. Last night, folks in Clackamas County got a chance to ask questions about what this means for them. Catherine Cook sat in on that town hall.
I have a real problem with tolling.
That summed up the majority of public comment shared during Wednesday's Clackamas County Town Hall. It focused on ODOT's tolling and regional mobility pricing project planned for I-205 and I-5. Clackamas County Board of Commissioners stressed they don't have any say in the state's tolling decision. Chair Tootie Smith shared their disapproval of it.
As we believe it will have a disproportionate and detrimental effect on Clackamas County residents, businesses, and visitors.
Here's what will happen. Starting in late 2024, ODOT says drivers will be tolled on I-205 near the Abernathy and Tualatin River bridges. Funding would pay for several improvements on I-205. Among them, congestion management and work on the Abernathy Bridge, making it earthquake ready. ODOT Toll Program Director Lucinda Broussard.
Not having a toll means we don't have a project. We don't have the improvements. The bridge doesn't happen. We can't do any. Right now, we are $510 million annually short for maintenance, which means now we cannot do anything else. There's no innovation happening. There's no upgrade.
A year later, in 2025, ODOT will start their regional mobility pricing project. That will impact drivers on all of I-205 up to the Glen Jackson Bridge and a big stretch of I-5 from the Interstate Bridge to the Boone Bridge in Wilsonville.
This tolling is inequitable, and no place I have lived, El Paso, Gig Harbor, or Seattle, has had all lanes tolled.
ODOT says one goal is getting commuters to carpool, work from home, or adjust their commute times to alleviate congestion.
We are pricing for peak times. So technically during the peak, it would cost more, and off peak, it would cost less, but there would always be a price.
Critics are expecting to pay another price. Congestion in their neighborhoods and side streets as commuters look for diversions around toll corridors.
I cannot imagine what it will be like because many people will be diverted off of 205.
So in terms of working with municipalities on alternate routes, you guys are a little late to the party.
ODOT says they've spent the last 3 years exploring other funding options at the state and federal level, only to call toll revenue critical. Many have questioned that claim.
It seems like, we're awash in money with record kicker, new federal highway funds, $1.2 billion.
ODOT maintains the only alternative they have is do nothing.
Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Oh, we're going to be talking about that a lot over the next couple of years. But let's shift gears now, head back to the Weather Center. Rod, for a while we've been talking about mild temperatures, but today it's a little bit cooler.
Yeah, I think we've seen our last near 60-something degree day. Yesterday we had that record of 63. Today, we had partly cloudy skies, kind of widespread across the area earlier, but now we are getting into this cloud flow that this morning was sitting just up to our north. Long Beach Peninsula and perhaps down to Astoria, a few light showers starting to pop. It's been overcast here in downtown Portland. We are at 54 degrees. It's actually possible that 54 is our high. At most, we warm up another degree or two. You can see a little bit of clearing out in the gorge when you get to Hood River looking off to the eastern sky. That's Cathedral Ridge Winery. They do have in Hood River westerlies that are up to about 20 miles per hour. So we'll say 54-ish is the high today. We could still see a thin spot in the cloud cover, but no promises. We'll be down to the mid-40s by 8 p.m. And I mentioned earlier that we had the record high yesterday. Now we are starting to cool off. If you haven't seen this, November went on to be the third warmest all time out of PDX in terms of the mean temperature, just over 50 degrees. That was about 3 degrees above normal. The big story now is that Cascade snow is looking promising for next week as cooler weather moves in and lowers the snow levels. And we'll talk more about that coming up. Right now, a holiday reminder for you. We're talking, of course, about the KGW Great Toy Drive. To give, simply drop off new unwrapped toys to any IQ credit union, Fred Meyer, or local Toyota dealerships. And this is easy. You can also make a cash donation online. Just go to kgw.com/toy. And if you want to get out and about and meet myself and Drew Carney, we will be out this Saturday at the Clackamas Promenade. That's there by the Nordstrom Rack. Across from the Clackamas Town Center, rather, 10 to 2 p.m. We will have KGW personnel there, and Drew and I will be there between 10 and noon, and we hope to see you then. So get involved in the KGW Great Toy Drive, and we will be right back.